Hey everyone, so after I did my fuckboys video, I got a lot of messages from guys telling me that they did not like to be thought of as fuckboys, and I also had a bunch of conversations with some guy friends of mine, and I've come up with a list of things that I have learned from guys in my time, and I thought that these things could be pretty interesting, just a different perspective to give from what guys actually think of girls and certain things that we do and say, and in ways that we behave, and just kind of their whole viewpoint on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in. So the first thing that I've learned, and something that many guys have taught me, like I said, I do have many guy friends, and we've had lots of discussions about relationships and girls, what they like, what they don't like. I find it really beneficial to get a guy's perspective because as women, I definitely think we're very smart, we're very intuitive, and we're very kind of in tune with the way that males act and the way that they behave and kind of things that they do and say. But at the same time, there is nothing more concrete than what a guy actually thinks. And I think a lot of times as females, we overcomplicate things. We maybe put more thought into certain actions than they do. And like I said, just hearing it straight from a guy is really something you cannot get anywhere else. And no matter how many amazing smart girls get together and brainstorm over certain ideas, hearing it directly from a guy is going to speak volumes. So the first thing that I have learned is that character doesn't really change within guys. Now, of course, guys grow up, they change, they become better people, but at the same time, someone's character, and especially in a man, that doesn't really change all that often. It definitely can in some cases, but in a lot of cases, the way that a guy views certain aspects, the way that they treat people, the way that they kind of have morals and different kind of boundaries, those things can kind of expand as they get older and as they mature, but deep down, they still kind of have the same viewpoints on a lot of things. So for example, a guy was telling me that if there's a certain guy that maybe sleeps around, is a player, doesn't treat women that well, and doesn't really care to treat girls well, maybe he'll grow up and he'll, become engaged, or he'll get married, or, something like that. But in the same regard, while he may have stopped sleeping around and doing those certain things, his views on that don't really change. He still, maybe when he's out with his buddies, hit on girls or act inappropriately towards women when his wife isn't around. Or just maybe doesn't feel bad about still, staring at other girls and like doing things that are kind of like inappropriate. And I definitely have witnessed this. Like I've been out before and had guys come up and talk to me and they're like trying to hit on me and stuff, and then they end up telling me that they're married and like, their wife doesn't know they're out and all this weird stuff. Like it's happened before and it's really gross and weird, but I think it does play into the idea of someone's character doesn't change all that much, even if they aren't acting on those things that they used to do, back in the day when they were young and wild and crazy. I think they can still have the same viewpoints and morals on things. And if they didn't really have an issue with treating girls not very nice or sleeping around and stuff, just because they get married or engaged doesn't mean that they don't still view that as okay. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, that was kind of a bitter truth, but something good to hear and at least acknowledge. I definitely am someone who always likes to kind of put a lot of focus on how guys treat waiters and how they also treat animals, of course, and also how they drive. I think guys that are really aggressive and drive really fast and just kind of have like road rage and not a lot of like patience for other people, that's always pretty much a bad sign, and I kind of am always wary of that. If a guy is a really, really aggressive, fast driver, I don't think personally it plays into their character very well. And like I said, treating a waiter rudely is like an automatic just like disqualification for me. That is like a no-go. No one should ever treat a waiter rude, but especially a man should always just be polite and never like talk down to a waiter or someone that's helping them or someone that's like kind of in that line of business. I think that's just so gross, and a lot of times guys that think very highly of themselves, maybe they're very successful, maybe they're wealthy, they can like talk down to service industry people, and I think that's just horrible. And like I said, it really speaks to their character a lot, which doesn't really change at the core of it. The next tip that I've learned from my guy friends is that actions speak louder than words. Now this, of course, is an age-old saying. Many of you are probably familiar with it, but I'm going to dive a little bit deeper. So a lot of girls come to me on Instagram and they'll send me these big long messages about a guy that they met that was super great. They thought he was just, the most wonderful guy. He had all the signs on paper to be such a great catch, and then, a few months down the line, something happens, they learn something horrible, he does something horrible, and it really just blindsides them because they really thought he was such an awesome, incredible guy that wasn't even like capable of doing something so horrible. And so what I want to say to you is, yes, actions speak louder than words. what I have witnessed and what I have also learned from all of my guy friends is a lot of guys that you don't think are going to be the bad guy, that maybe say all the right type of things, they're so sweet, they're so smooth, suave, everything just seems like they are like a Prince Charming, like they've done this before, they know how to do it. That's a huge sign, because a guy that knows everything to say, he knows how to make you feel certain ways, he knows how to almost like manipulate girls into thinking he's a safe choice, he's a good guy, he's not going to do anything bad. Those are like always the guys to actually watch out for, because as humans, we are not supposed to be perfect, we're not supposed to be rehearsed, we're supposed to be authentic and raw and sharing our real emotions, and with that comes slip-ups. You're not always going to know what to say, you're not always going to be so suave and smooth and almost like rehearsed. That's definitely a bad sign, but it can be something so tempting for girls, because when they have a guy saying, oh, you know, you're my beautiful princess, or you're my sweetie, or, you know, just like these really sweet, like loving words, like, I've never had another girl make me feel this way before, you're so special, you're so different than all the other girls. Those things to a girl can be like a huge sign, like, oh my gosh, I have found the most perfect guy, I am so lucky. But what it really can mean is it's a guy that knows how to operate. He knows how to work you. He knows the things to say to make you feel really comfortable, to make you feel like maybe you should do certain things with this guy that you wouldn't do before, because he's the right one and he's the only one that has treated you this way. And a lot of times those end up being the guys that honestly are like full of shit. And that's just a sad truth, but something I definitely have learned and wanted to speak upon. And again, with actions, you know, a guy can say anything in the world. He can say pretty much everything in the world. He can literally tell you that he's going to be there for you, he's going to do everything for you, he's never going to hurt you. But if his actions don't align with that, that is so much more powerful than anything he can say. Because at the end of the day, people that know how to manipulate and know how to use people are really good at talking, and that's just a fact. And in my opinion, someone who is humble and someone who is a bit nervous around you is a much better candidate for someone you actually date or get serious with, because that means they actually like you. Someone that wants to make a good impression on you and someone that is being vulnerable and raw wants to know that you like them and wants to know that you're feeling it and you guys are kind of vibing in that way. But they're not going to be perfect. They're not going to seem like they've done this before. Like they use all these lines on a bunch of girls. And while in the moment maybe it could feel a little bit more comfortable, maybe it's not so, you know, sweeping you off your feet and magical, that's a real relationship and that's a real person showing you who they really are, what their values are, and also what their intentions are. And I just want to remind you guys that even the guys that don't know how to say the most perfect things, those are probably going to end up being the better guys versus the one that knows all the little sweet nothings to tell you. The next thing I've learned from guys comes as no shock to me, because this is something I've always practiced. Not to say I'm the most intelligent person in the world, but I definitely have a big importance on being intelligent and showing that you are smart and you use your brain and you have that as a strength. Because let's be honest, it is so unattractive when girls dumb themselves down for guys. I will never understand this. I think it dates back to like old romantic comedies where girls had to act ditzy and silly to get a guy to help them or to get a guy to think they were not capable of doing something on their own. But let's just be honest, that's not attractive. And if you haven't gotten with the times and you don't realize this yet, I'm here to clue you in. But guys find it really sexy and attractive when a girl is intelligent, not when she's stupid and dumb and kind of plays herself down. I mean, it's one thing to just honestly not be that smart, but if you are someone who's really smart and you have a lot of cool things to talk about, you know a lot of different stuff, you're very knowledgeable in certain aspects, and you try to kind of downplay that to seem dumb and ditzy and like more carefree, you are just only hurting yourself in the long run, honestly, because so many guys have told me that finding a girl with a brain that uses her brain is like a rarity these days, which is really sad because I know there are a ton of girls out there that are really smart and cool. So make sure you show that because it's very attractive and it's something you really want to lead with. Trust me, any guy that is worth your time will value that you're intelligent, not that you are silly and ditzy and stupid. Just honestly, let's cut that out. The next thing I've learned is that guys prefer the natural makeup look. Now, I'm the first to say I love makeup, I love doing my hair, I love dressing up, I love being really girly and feminine. So yes, I can definitely have my days where I don't wear like a natural makeup look. And the thing I think that is very interesting about this is guys say they like that look, but they don't really know what that means. Your natural look could be you using 10 different products. I think what it just means is they don't like the look that you put a ton of makeup onto your face, something that shows you're comfortable in your own skin, that is showing you're confident with the way that you actually look. That is what I think they find attractive. So if you are someone that has acne prone skin or you don't feel comfortable wearing no makeup, don't feel like you have to, but just know that going a little bit more lighter, a little bit more natural is very attractive to guys. And I've been there on like doing myself up to the nines, wearing tons of makeup, thinking I look awesome and thinking that's going to impress a guy when, you know, the next day where I have my hair up in a ponytail and like barely any makeup on, just a little mascara, they tell me I look more beautiful than ever. So I think that's a big thing for us to hear as women. I know we hear it all the time. Again, I'm not knocking anyone that wants to wear makeup. I think there are so many occasions where you can get all dolled up, wear your perfect red lipstick, do your hair, look beautiful. And I also think it's really great with your guy to kind of show them that you have that versatility, that you can be someone, you know, in a t-shirt, casual with your hair tied up, or you can put on your fancy shoes, your nice lipstick, do up your hair, and you can kind of look great across all boards. But really understanding that a guy likes you to feel comfortable, and they can really pick up on that. So if putting on a ton of makeup and being really done up is not your natural state, and you're doing this hoping to impress a guy, just know that you feeling comfortable and you feeling like you're confident in the way that you look is the most attractive thing you could actually do, and that's kind of what you should focus on when you are trying to appeal to them. The next thing that I've learned from guys is that they are on to the Instagram tricks. Now girls, hear me out here. I'm sure every single one of you has been there before, getting in a fight with your guy or a guy you're talking to or seeing, you get mad, so you decide to, of course, go up and post a sexy picture. Maybe you take it a step further and you post a sexy bikini photo on Instagram. Maybe it happens to be the dead of winter. Maybe it happens to be, you know, a day where you definitely are not on the beach. It's an old photo you pulled out. Whatever it is, guys are on to this. So just keep that in mind when trying to play these little Instagram games. It's honestly something that has been happening since the beginning of Instagram. I still see girls do this all the time. Thankfully, I've not been in that position in a long time, so I haven't had to pull that stop out. But yes, guys are onto it. Like, they obviously know if you guys get in a fight, you aren't talking for a day, and then the next day you have like a sexy bikini photo in the Bahamas when you definitely are not in the Bahamas, and it's from, you know, 3 vacations ago. Guys pick up on that. They know what you're trying to do. They can tell that you're trying to attract them, to get their attention, to, you know, maybe get some other male attention. And I just think in the long run, it can kind of make you look a little silly. It's a little petty. I'm all for wanting to embrace your body, feel sexy, feel empowered, post up photos that make you feel and look good, but just be mindful when you're doing like the bikini photo right after you guys break up or right after you guys get in a fight, especially if it's an old picture, because guys can pick up on that. Like, they're not as, I don't know, not clever as we think. They definitely are, and they definitely can kind of read through that sign. And so many guys have told me about this, that is just an instant like trick that they know when a girl is pissed at them, she's gonna go ahead and post like her old bikini photo to try to like rank it up a notch. So just keep that in mind when trying to play those Instagram games. And in the same mindset, guys also really don't like the petty girl drama. I was talking to a guy friend the other day that was telling me about a girl that ended up blocking him on Instagram because he didn't respond to her text message, and then she ended up unblocking him like 12 hours later. Now, most guys are not really gonna wanna put up with this, and I think also they're really seeing a glimpse of you that doesn't show you in your best light. We are much stronger than needing to block a guy for 12 hours. If you really have an issue with someone and you want nothing to do with them, by all means, block them, get them out of your life, but don't undo it in 12 hours. That just honestly kind of backfires. It makes you look really like you're making these rash decisions, like you can't control your emotions, and it honestly makes you look like you're 13. And when you're like 23, that's not the way to act. Let me just tell you, it's not. Guys see right through that behavior, and let me say that a girl that acts like a mature adult is much more likely to make a big impact on a guy than a girl that's acting like a bratty little kid. Handle your emotions, speak about things that bother you, and come to an agreement as to adults if that's the way that you want to be treated. And to be honest, why would you want to have a relationship or something of the sort with someone that behaves like that? That's not a great foot to start it off on, and you know, that's kind of a warning sign for how it's going to go in the future. Imagine when you guys have a real issue and blocking someone on Instagram isn't going to be fixing it. Just something to think about. The next thing that guys have taught me is that they are always hungry and they think it's weird when girls try not to eat in front of them. Now, I have been there, trust me, I think we all have, at least if you're someone who can be somewhat self-conscious before. I've definitely been on a date and tried to like eat as little as possible as a mixture of being nervous and also wanting to make sure that my drinks I was drinking really got through and got me a little tipsy because maybe I was wanting to be more talkative on the date or just not feeling comfortable eating in front of a guy. Pretty much all guys know that girls eat just as they do, and you know, being someone that's like choosing not to eat in front of guys or like holding that out, that's probably gonna just seem a little bit more weird to them than if you just enjoy yourself on the date, eat your meal, talk, be normal, and seem like you're comfortable. Like I said, reverting back to the natural makeup, guys can really pick up when a girl is not being themselves and isn't comfortable, and that alone can be a turnoff. You can be the most beautiful, cool girl, but if you are acting like you're uncomfortable and you're not meshing, you're not vibing well because you kind of have your guard up and you're really tense, and that can come to do with a lot of things. That can be if you're being really quiet, maybe you're not talking, or maybe you happen to be laughing at everything and that's really unnatural, or you're not eating, or you just, you know, have a mean look on your face, or whatever it is. If there's anything that's going on that just doesn't seem like it's your natural state of enjoying yourself, guys will pick up on that, and it's something really easy for them to kind of determine that maybe they aren't going to want a second date with you after that. So just keep that in mind. As hard as it can be, just try to take a few deep breaths, relax, and also know that if you're putting forward your best foot as being your authentic self, that's going to be the most attractive to guys all around. And the last thing that I've learned from guys, which again reverts back to my fuckboy video, if you haven't checked it out, make sure to go ahead and do that. I will link it below. I had so many guys reach out to me, friends and also ones that watched that video, tell me that at the end of the day, most guys are good people. They want to be good, they want to treat women right, they want to respect you, and they want to make you happy. And at the end of the day, they don't want to be thought of as a fuckboy. Yes, of course, there always are going to be some of those that are fuckboys and that kind of enjoy that lifestyle and being like that. But it's not every single guy, and that just kind of gave me a little bit of hope in humanity and in the men population. Like I said, they are smarter than we think, so just always keep that in mind when we're choosing to be girls and play our little games and do all that kind of stuff. And I think at the end of the day, if we all just try to be adults and try to consider each other's feelings, that's going to just be much better outcomes in the future. So let me know anything that you guys have learned from guys, maybe from a boyfriend or from a brother or even from other guy friends. I would love to hear them in the comments below. I think this is a fun little video idea, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!